Most people are not ready for what's about to happen because Iran war has restarted, and that means that massive inflation is coming. And this is probably the worst time for it to happen because the US economy is already slowing down and there are good signs of a recession. And now Iran war restarting, which means that prices will start rising. Look at this news. Israel strikes Iran after missile attack. So apparently Iran has attacked Israel because the United States and Israel have not actually honored the agreement they have. Back in the days when they started the massive period of bombing, when the US was bombing Iran literally every single day, and then the US wanted to make a deal because it realized that it's not going to win the war that way. It's not going to force Iranian to completely surrender the way that Donald Trump imagined this to be. And that means that we get to sit and negotiate. I mean, eventually, if you think about it, what are the options that you have? Either you're going to send the ground troops into Iran, and the US certainly was not ready at that point to do that. And if you literally just compare, for example, Iran to Iraq, in Iraq, the US needed like hundreds of thousands of troops. And since this country is much larger, you probably need like 1 million troops in order to at least control some periods or some aspects of the country. And that means that you got to start negotiating. But part of the negotiations was that Iran is like, if we are going to end this war, we don't simply want a ceasefire between us. Lebanon is our ally. So if you want a ceasefire, you got to start a ceasefire with Lebanon as well. And Israel was not happy with that. Since the day they started this ceasefire, Israel kept attacking Lebanon. So that completely jeopardizes the ceasefire and nobody knows what's going to happen next. Yes, of course, this war is hurting the Iranian economy, but it's also hurting the US economy because the United States is not in a position to take this war. Now, so essentially, if you even think about it, this war was not even stopped in the first place because even though that there was some kind of a ceasefire, they kept exchanging fires with one another every other day. So they would shoot an Iranian drone, they would attack Iran, that Iran would send their drones to the US military bases. But here's the biggest problem, that war, yes, it's costing billions of dollars, but the problem is that it is raising inflation in the US. Look at the inflation data. You see that back in January and February, we have reached inflation of 2.4% after that rise. And this is pretty important because based on this, the Federal Reserve is going to take decisions. Should we raise the interest rates or we should lower down the interest rates? And when Trump became the president, we had inflation of 2.3%. This was the moment that everybody was waiting for lower interest rates. But then Donald Trump starts his war on tariffs, his war against China, the financial war. Of course, if you know anything about economics, you know that tariffs are going to raise prices. That is going to raise inflation. So inflation reaches about 3% by September, and then it starts cooling down because we realize that there is a certain type of an agreement between the US and China. And then when the Supreme Court has completely canceled the tariffs, we were expecting that inflation will finally hit 2%. But look at that, from 2% to 3.8% literally by April of this year. And now we're going to have the data that will show us probably that inflation is now more than 4%. And this is something that every single American is feeling it. And that is happening primarily because look at oil prices. Oil prices literally impact the price of everything. And oil prices since that day has been hovering around $100. Yes, they spiked to over $100. But here's the thing. Most people have absolutely no idea that $100 per barrel is yet not a big problem, because if this war continues, we're looking at prices that are going to cross $200. And most people don't realize the importance of oil in the economy because first of all, the effect that we have seen so far is the direct energy shock, where prices have literally increased dramatically. We haven't actually seen that oil prices impacting transportation costs, the supply chain. And we haven't seen that because all these nations across the globe have actually released their strategic reserves. When you see that oil prices, it's one thing, but the real oil prices that these transportation companies are paying are completely different. At its peak, yes, the futures for oil has been trading at around $120, as you can see on this chart. But the reality is that because they've been releasing the strategic oil reserves, we haven't seen massive inflation of 10 or 15%. You know that the strategic oil reserves will end sooner or later, and they will end in a few months from now. And that's when you will see the real inflation. Another problem we have is food and fertilizers. Literally about like a third of all the fertilizers go through the Strait of Hormuz. If you slash the supply of fertilizer by a third, instantly you're going to have famine across the globe. Yes, famine is not coming certainly to the US, but because the US is deeply integrated into the global economy, you can expect food prices to rise in the US as well. There is going to be a pressure on wages. Then people will be expecting higher inflation. And if you're expecting higher inflation, you're going to go to your boss and tell him, listen, if you don't raise my income, I'm not going to work here. I will go and find another job. Have you seen prices at groceries? Have you seen prices all across the country? Have you seen oil prices? Have you seen gas prices? Obviously, that is creating this self-fulfilling prophecy that it is going to turn into a domino effect and inflation will instantly get out of control. And that will put the Fed into a trap. On one side, the real economy isn't actually growing because the prices are rising. On the other side, because prices are rising, GDP is rising because everything is simply now more expensive. So on paper, GDP is growing, but the real quality of life is actually going down. And that's what we call stagflation. And that's the worst situation that could happen. So if this war with Iran is not going to end anytime soon, we're looking into real stagflation that's going to happen by the end of the year. But the biggest problem that I see over here is that peace is simply impossible between the US and Iran. On the first day of this war, I told you that this war is going to fundamentally change everything. And all those talks about ceasefire, all that is nonsense. And how do I know that? You simply have to look at Iran's demands and the US demands and the situation in the region. And when you understand that simple basic concept there, you understand that peace between Iran and the US is impossible. And Iran is never going to go back to the previous status quo. Like what the US wants right now, what Donald Trump wants right now is that we want to go back to how the world was before the war started. But the problem is that Donald Trump has started this war, and that means that Iran is not going to go to the previous status quo. You've actually damaged the country. You started a major war. So if you want to end it, you're going to end it on their terms. But if you want to end it on your terms, you're going to start a major war. And that's another problem, that if you escalate and if you send ground troops into Iran, ask yourself, what's going to be the price tag for that? And because the government is already running a $2 trillion deficit, let me ask you a very simple question. If you are financing your life on debts and now you want to double your expenses, where are you going to take that money? Obviously, you don't have that money. That means that you're going to borrow more money. And that more borrowing is essentially going to lead to higher inflation. So the inflation that we see right now, right here, is that it's 3.8%. This is nothing compared to what's about to happen if this is going to keep escalating. And now this war has been going on for more than 3 months. It's entirely possible that it will escalate. It will go to, who knows, that if a ground invasion is actually going to take place. Let's look at the Iran's demand. So Iran is like, you started the war with us. This is our demands if you want to stop the war, right? First of all, we don't want any kind of ceasefire. We want to end the war. Yes, we want a final agreement that is going to bring peace into our region so that we know that the next day nobody is going out of nowhere just bomb our country. And you can completely understand them. Again, I'm not standing on the side of Iran. I'm not trying to defend anybody here, but I'm just trying to make a simple logic. If you were in their position, wouldn't that what you would ask, basically? But that's not what the US wants. The US wants simply a ceasefire because the US wants to go back to the previous status quo. The next problem is that right to uranium enrichment. So even if Iran commits that they will never build a nuclear weapons, they're like, we have the right to build nuclear reactors, for example. We have the right to nuclear energy. So we have the right to enrich uranium to a level where we can actually use it for energy sources. We also want you to lift all the sanctions, because all these sanctions that you have actually created or imposed upon us since 1979, since the evolution took place, are illegal. Why do we as a nation have to be under these sanctions? So you crippled our economy, and now and you started this war. If you want to end this war, you control the global economy. That means that we want you to lift all the sanctions so that Iran can easily trade with the rest of the world. And that's important because even close allies of Iran are not actually trading as closely with Iran. Like take China. China is very deeply integrated into the global US economy. China is one of the largest buyers of the US debt. China makes hundreds of billions of dollars by selling in the US. Most US companies are operating in China. So obviously, if it's an option for China between Iran and the US, China doesn't care about Iran. They want their relationship with the United States. And that hurts Iran because Iran is like, we are under the US sanctions, which means that even our closest allies can't possibly trade with us. And if there is no trade, you're not improving, you're not growing the economy. So obviously they want all the sanctions to be lifted. And the US is, of course, they don't want that. They're like, why would we lift the sanctions? Let's just go back to February 2026 when nothing was happening, where you were under sanctions and you were not closing the Strait of Hormuz. Release frozen assets. So since the revolution has actually started in Iran, the US froze some assets, Iranian assets, and it's in tens of billions of dollars. And they want them to be released, sent back to Iran so they can use it for their own purposes. Obviously, the US is, of course, against that. And the US blockade. Well, of course, we know that. I mean, of course, the US would certainly agree to that if a peace agreement will be reached. A new mechanism for the Strait of Hormuz. And this is probably the biggest problem that the US has. Not just the US, but rather the entire region. Iran is like, listen, we control the Strait of Hormuz. And in order for you to pass your ships through there, you're going to pay us tolls. You guys are rich, like the neighboring countries around Iran. And you make so much money. And if you want your ships to cross there, you're going to pay toll. You know, like the Panama Canal, every time you pass through the Panama Canal, you pay Panama a fee. Or every time you cross the Suez Canal, you pay Egypt a fee. And they're making a lot of money. So Iran wants to utilize the Strait of Hormuz. And because literally a third of or a fifth of the entire oil reserves go through there, they could be making billions of dollars out of that. And they can use that to fuel their economy. But it's not just about oil. It's also about natural gas. I think like a quarter of all natural gas passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Then you have the ships that get the fertilizer out of the Strait of Hormuz. And then you have all these nations that are so rich, they make so much money, and so many ships actually cross that strait, and they make and they could be making so much money from there. Of course, the US is like, no, we're not going to let you control the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to let you actually collect the tolls. We started the war so that now you can be charging tolls, and our closest allies in the Middle East will be paying for that. That's not what they've signed for. So the US will lose this credibility in the region. But it gets even more crazier that Iran wants a complete military withdrawal from the region. So the US has built military bases all across the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, in Qatar. These are some of the largest military bases that the US has outside the US borders. And Iran is like, you want to end the war, you got to leave our region. You got to leave the neighboring countries. You got to go back to whatever you want to go back to. And that's unacceptable. The US will never accept that because these regions are important there to keep and protect the US interests in the region, in Iraq, in Kuwait. Even now when they exchanged military fires, Iran instantly attacked the military bases in Kuwait, military bases in Saudi Arabia. These are US military bases, and Iran is signaling, if you want to end the war, you got to withdraw entirely from the region, and that's obviously it's not going to happen. The US will never accept that. And then we have a list of other demands. So just by comparing the demands that Iran has proposed to the US, obviously the US is not going to accept that. You might say that, well, that's the purpose of negotiations, so that you can actually find a middle ground. I mean, what kind of a middle ground you're going to find after you bomb the country? Obviously, it will be asking for reparations, and if the US will pay their reparations, that means that the US has actually accepted a defeat in this war. And if the US will accept the Iranian authority on the Strait of Hormuz, that's again a loss for the US. That's why this war is not going to end, as I told you, on the first day of the war, and you have to be very strategic about your investments during this war, because if you know how this war is going to continue, you will be making the right decisions and you will be investing in the right stocks. But what makes the war even worse is that whether you like it or not, as an average person, you will be impacted by this because inflation will keep rising whether you like it or not. And that means that any American today that is not investing in the market, that is not investing in the stock market, is actually losing. Look at inflation and look at your wages. Are they raising your wages as much as the real prices are rising? Well, certainly not. And that means that this is probably the most important time to take some of your money and invest in the stock market so that as prices rise, the value of your portfolio or the value of your assets will keep rising as well. And if you want a step-by-step strategy on how to start investing and which assets you have to buy, you can literally join the Investing Academy right now. And we have still some free spots left. So if you want to join the Investing Academy completely for free, the link is in the description of this video.